Hi, this is Tracy Manette of Clever Monkey Graphics, and I'm just going to show you a couple quick and dirty ways to warp shadows in Photoshop. So let's go over to a document that I have open. This is a perfect item that if you want to make it feel like it's lifting off the page, if you can warp those shadows, it'll look awesome. This is a string that's in our new kit that I did with Tracy Martin called Hipster Wannabe. That's not coming out though until later in September. So, to warp the shadows, I've got a simple shadow style sitting on here. You can see it all along the edges. And so I need to separate that shadow layer from the string. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to right click and come all the way down to where it says Create Layer. Now look, it just put the drop shadow on the layer below. If you don't click right on that little effects, it's not going to happen. Something else, some other menu will come up. So you need to be right on the effects when you do that right clicking. So let's drop down here. One of the ways that we know to do our shadows, let's edit transform, and then we're going to get up, there it is. I'm working on a smaller screen than normal so that I can make this video as big for you as I can. So I click this, and I get all these little points that I can pull things on. And note, they're on the shadow area, so they're not going to go elsewhere. So I could maybe pull out a little there, maybe pull this up a bit. Ooh, look. So I can do that, and then I can say, okay. And then I can further make it look a little more realistic by taking an erase tool and getting a really big soft brush. Sorry, I've got lots of brushes in my palette, so that means it takes a little long. I've chosen a 300 soft brush. And I'm going to lower my opacity just a little on that. And what you might do is come around, and the areas furthest away from the paper, lighten them up a bit. Maybe even, maybe even a lot in some areas. And it will increase the look of it pulling away. Okay, so that's method number one. I'm going to go in my histories palette and go back to where let's see, create layers. Okay, let's close the history palette. And here's what I think, for me anyway, this is usually even an easier way. We're going to look for that little smudge tool here. See it right here? And click it. And I want a brush big enough. Once again, I'm going to start with the 300 soft brush. It's just out of your view right there, sorry. And double click that. And here's what I can do is I can push things. In fact, I might even want a bigger brush. So I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut and just push it a little bigger. And I'm pushing. You just want to do a little at a time. So I'm pushing it out a little there. Let's see, maybe down here. Maybe I want to drop this down a little. And just a little bit here. And maybe I want it to look more like it's coming out over here, so there. And then just a little bit there. And then I can go back again and I can use the erase tool to soften the look of it coming up in some places, which increases the feel of the distance just that little bit. And voila, you have your drop shadow look done really easy. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Hi, this is Tracy Manette of Clever Monkey Graphics, and I'm going to show you a couple of quick and dirty ways to warp shadows on elements. And so let's get right to it. I'm going to pull you over here. This is a string that I have. In fact, let me just make the white background as big as the string itself. There we go. I enlarged it because I needed room for my shadow for when I warp the shadow. So let's go up to the string layer. I'm just going to quickly go to my styles palette and put a style on there. This is a style already set up for a basic shadow. And I'll just click that closed. And now what we need to do is we need to take this shadow style and we need to separate it onto another layer. Note that when you separate it, if you've got other styles on there, they will also go onto separate layers. So here's what we do. We go over to the little thing where it says FX. You're going to right click and go all the way down near the bottom, and it's going to say create layer. One thing I want you to know is that if you, let's say you're not on it, you right click there, you're not going to get that. If you right click on the picture, you're going to get something else. All the menus are they very much work with where you click on things. They really try and make it easy in that it's contextual as to where you're clicking, what happens. So right click, create layer. And look, our drop shadow layer has come down right there. So now we're going to start messing with this. I'm going to show you two different ways. First way, let's go edit and free transform. You could also have just gone Control T or Command T. I usually use shortcuts because I think it's faster and it's just easier for me. Once we have the transform up there, we're going to go up to this little icon, click it, and it's going to put all these little handles around that you can drag around. So if my shadow is going at 45 degrees, so I probably want to move things more this way. So now I get the feel that this is coming up a little more. Maybe I need to go in. Let's see if there's some. Yep, that'll push things a little bit there. And then I could hit OK like that. And I'm starting to get that little bit of a lifted feel. It takes a normal shadow to being something really cool and fun, especially on a scrapbooking layout. So now I'm going to show you the second method and then show you what further you can do to enhance the look of that drop shadow. Let's just go back into my histories. I've applied my style. I'll close that back up. Okay, so once again, let's go right click, create layer. Let's go down to our layer. Often I forget to go down to that layer and I start by accidentally doing something goofy to my original layer. Just hit Control or Command Z, or if you have to go in the history palette, do that. And then I'm going to go over to this smudge tool, click on that. I want a big soft brush, and I've already got one at 600, big soft round brush. And watch what happens. You want to do this just little bits at a time. So push, push. I want that part to maybe come out. This part maybe I'll just pull it in a little tighter and just push that up just a little bit more. Do you see we're getting this lifted look? And there, but I do want to make sure I keep things tight in there, so I pull back up a little. Maybe here, just in like that. Wow, look how that's starting to look lifted. This, if I push it up a bit, I'm going to get even a feel of it further lifted. The next step that I can do, or I can choose not to, but it does end up looking very cool, is I'm going to go into my erase brush, and I've lowered its opacity. But you could do full opacity, and if you're on a soft edge brush, just using the edge of the brush will kind of work the opacity rate in itself. But what I'm going to do, the places that I think are farthest away from the paper, look how taking a little of that off and just lowering its opacity there. See, it makes it look further from the paper. So a little bit over here, maybe just the edge of my brush, maybe just a touch here. And see how that starts to lift things even further, creates more realistic shadows. And when we're doing digital scrapbooking, we are all about trying to get things to look like a paper scrapbook page. And that is about it. I hope this helped and taught you a little bit more about using warp shadows. Thanks for watching.